Back in homescreen.dart, let's fix our margin on our bar chart, and we'll change it to .from LTRB, which is left, top, right, and bottom, and we'll set it to 20.0, 20.0, 20.0, and the bottom will make 10.0. And we get a pixel overflow error here, so all we have to do is go back to our bar chart, and we can just change the padding from 15 to 12. And now the error disappeared. In order to create our categories, we need to go back to our homescreen.dart, and then for the child count, we're going to import categories, and then add the length of the categories. So now we have 1 plus the category's length. So we have all 6 categories, which means right now we have 6 extra bar charts. And because we don't want 6 bar charts, we can check if the index is equal to 0, which means that it's the first value in this list. And if it is equal to 0, then we want to return the container. Otherwise, we want to return the categories. So we'll say final category, and make sure you import category, and set that equal to categories index minus 1, because at this point we would be at index 1, and we minus 1 because our list starts at index 0. Next we need to calculate the total amount spent for our category, so we know how much of the bar to have left. So let's make a double called total amount spent, and we'll set it equal to 0. And then we're going to access our category dot expenses, which is our list of expenses, and then we'll do a for each loop over the expenses. And remember to import expense. And all we have to do is some simple addition, so total amount spent plus equals expense dot cost. So this loops through our category expenses and adds the cost of each item to our total amount spent. And then we want to return a function called build category, where we pass in the category and the total amount spent. Now let's go back to the top of our home screen state, and we'll write the function build category, and that takes in the category, and double total amount spent. And then for now, we will just return a container with margin edge insets dot symmetric, horizontal 20.0, vertical 10.0. And remember to add the semicolon after the container. Next we'll give it a height of 100.0, and then we'll set the width to double.infinity. And then in order to see the containers on our screen, we'll set a color to colors.red. And now we see all of our future category containers. Let's turn our category containers into more what the bar chart looks like, with the rounded corners and the shadow. So we'll add decoration, box decoration, border radius dot circular 10.0. And then the reason we get that error is because we have color outside of decoration. So if we hold down the Option key on Mac and hit down, we can move the color into the next line. And we can clearly see that we have rounded corners now. Let's add our box shadow, and this will be in an array, box shadow, color, colors.black12, offset 0 in the X and 2 in the Y. And then lastly, we need blur radius to be 6.0. And we'll change the color from colors.red to colors.white. Now if we look at our UI, we can see that this is a column widget here, and the first item in our column widget will be a row with 2 text widgets. So let's add a child to our container. And then we'll say column, children, row, children, and then we'll create text. And then this one will be category.name. And then our second text widget will be the remaining amount of money we have. So our category.maxAmount minus the total amount spent out of the category.maxAmount. So the money we allocated for our budget. So single quote, and then escape the first $sign so it shows up. And then string interpolation, category.maxAmount minus the total amount spent. And then to convert this to a string, we'll put parentheses around it. Dot to string as fixed 2. And if we hit save now, we'll see that this is the remaining amount of money we have left. And then after that, we want to add a /, and then / to escape the $sign, string interpolation category.maxAmount. And now if we hit save, we see that we get the values of our remaining money out of the max amount of money we designated. And for a reminder, the max amount comes from our data.dart, where we assigned it right here. And these are all arbitrary values. And taking another look at our UI, we can see that this text is centered here inside our column widget. And we also have a space between in the main axis alignment of the row. So each of the text widgets are pushed to the outer edges. So let's first add main axis alignment to our row widget. Main axis alignment dot space between. And now they're at the opposite ends of each other. And then to center it, we will just add main axis alignment dot center. And hit save. And that vertically centered our row. Let's quickly add some styling to our text widgets. Style, text style, font size 20.0, font weight, we'll make it semi-bold, which is W600. And hit save. Now for our text here, style, text style, font size, we'll make this one 18.0. And the font weight will be font weight.w600 too. And in order to fix the amount of decimals that show after the max amount, we can just copy the toString as fixed here and add it right there. And now we see 450.00, 500.00, and so on.